Oh. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is Apex Greatness. Fire. I am your host, Russell Broderick. This way
Yes.
is Dario Albuquerque. Off camera is the fairy pop mother, Lindsay Lehman. Let's talk about some shit. What's up, guys? How we doing?
I'm doing better than my friend Klay.
Yeah. Yep.
That's a fair statement.
Affirmative. So this came out at about 1:30 today. Adrian Wojnarowski, the greatest basketball reporter of our time.
Facts.
Basically, when he puts something out, it's not just a tweet; it's news, or it instantly becomes part of NBA history if it's big enough.
Yeah, exactly. My man was freaking doing the draft before the draft was like actually announcing shit. Like, that was crazy.
And he's been doing that that's what got him over.
Yeah.
He's been doing that for a really long time. But
Crazy.
He put out today that Mr. Klay Thompson, unfortunately, has suffered a second season-ending injury, giving him an Achilles tear. So, the ACL injury, I believe, was to the... Hold on. The ACL injury was to the left knee. And the Achilles injury is to the right Achilles.
Yeah.
So it's got to do basically everything he just did and more, most likely.
Yeah.
On the other foot now. I have no idea. I've been very lucky. Never had any kind of leg injury like that on either leg.
No.
I can't imagine what that's going to be like.
I just like mentally, like what the hell is going to, like, that's just so tough. Like,
this reminded me of when Kobe, like, who we've been working on his legacy breakdown and hypotheticals that are available in our archives. The end of his career was very similar in the sense that it was like one injury that was really bad, and then immediately followed by another injury that was really bad. And then it kind of like stacked up, and then his body just couldn't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
His body couldn't hold up.
Well,
with Klay, he's a lot younger. So this is what he's got going for him. Obviously, he's significantly younger. However, it's a similar situation where he's going to lose 2 straight seasons of NBA competition.
Yeah.
Right? So he's going to be 30. And he's entering his 30s. So it's like his body's going to be significantly different than when he started. Like, but go ahead.
I was going to say, and unlike Kobe, he has the luxury of not relying at all on his athleticism, like, to do most of what he does great. So like, I think he definitely could still be productive. I just think it hurts him in certain things, and we'll get into it.
Yeah, I think. Oh my God! I didn't know he was bleeding in this performance.
Bloody boy!
Oh my God! Bloody Klay! Oh, for mercy, Klay! Fucking. Oh my God! But
that's why he wore the headband.
And then it's hilarious. But
proceeded to.
The type of things that we're seeing him do in these clips are things that I feel like the kinds of injuries that he's had shouldn't drastically affect.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah. Like, to put into perspective for people, this guy dropped 60 points off 4 dribbles. So he clearly doesn't really need his athleticism to score.
No, but he does get all his shots, but that's not true at all. But because there is a certain level of athleticism to that, but it's not obviously not. It's just not in the way we're used to seeing it. This is how it's athletic, right? He gets open on all these fast break threes like this, right? Stops on a dime, similar to like a running back. I mean, honestly, the way they stop quick and then change direction. And then he's running around screens and trying to get open and then turning quickly and shooting. Not like Kevin Durant, where he's doing like a lot of like fast dribble, step back kind of shit. It's more of a standing shot. But I wonder how much it's going to affect how fast he can move, or whether he's going to trust his body.
Where I think is gonna affect him is just the defensive end. I think that's the biggest thing with Klay is he was always he was the ultimate 3-and-D guy. Yeah, and like, to be able to like stay with defenders for 48 minutes offensively, I don't think it affects him that much. To be honest, it's like it's not gonna stop him from being able to shoot threes. Like he can't. Like why can't he be Ray Allen? Like what Ray Allen was at the end of his career.
I think he's so much better than Ray Allen.
Yeah, I know.
And even from an offensive perspective, I think he can't. I think you can't. Ray Allen never had heat check moments the way Klay gets them, and I think it's because of all the muscle memory that Klay has established in his life, and that's what's going to be lost, in my opinion. Like you can stand in a pool. Like I saw Kevin Durant like a month or two after his Achilles injury, standing in a pool and taking jump shots. And I'm sure you can do that all you want, but this game speed stuff, one season's hard enough. Like 2 seasons is fucking. That's asking a lot, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I understand that shooting's.
I think you need to give him a season. I think he would definitely need for all of these injuries. You need to give the player a season. It's just statistically proven that they can't, like an ACL. Usually they bounce back within the second season, like whether it's football or basketball. And Achilles is even worse. But I just wouldn't expect him to be even remotely the same defender that he was. But in terms of like 3-point shooting, I don't see why that would. It doesn't change. Like your legs definitely affect your shot to an extent, but not enough. Not that much. Now it won't. It doesn't make you become arguably the second greatest.
These Splash Brothers say that it does. They say it a lot in interviews and stuff.
To go from the second greatest, I'm just saying, I don't see him going from the second greatest shooter of all time to like a normal league player. Like I don't see that being much of an issue. Like in terms of his 3-point shooting, his defense, and the overall player that he is just going to be completely different, I think.
So, I'll give you. I'm going to tell you exactly what he's going to lose on the offensive end, because we just had up some defensive highlights. This type of shit is what he's going to lose on the offensive end, where he's running as fast as he fucking can, stopping very quickly, turning and shooting. He's going to have a hard time doing that. Ray Allen is the perfect.
But he was never the fastest guy in the world. Like it's not like he's running.
He needs all that. He's not like slow. He's not Larry Bird slow. Like he's got athleticism and he's running the entire game. Like he's got stamina for days. And I don't know if that's gonna be the hardest part to get back.
Yeah, his minutes are you probably have to limit minutes and stuff.
Like that's gonna be important. That's what I'm saying.
I'm telling you that's not athleticism at all. Like what he just did right there, like he literally all he needed is the second of separation. Like is not like if you're looking at what he's doing.
I think Russ is talking about like those stop and pop moments where it looks like he's cutting really hard and then all of a sudden he just stops on a dime, and that's what he's talking about.
Yeah, but he's not running that fast.
But it's that's what the Achilles does. That's the muscle. Like that's what I'm saying. Like that's what, and it's in both his legs now. Like I just think that's going to be really difficult to come back from, to be what you were, like to make it back to like.
I would not expect him to be Klay Thompson again. Like
That's what I'm saying. And like,
I definitely don't think he's gonna go. Like, but what I'm saying is, I think you could go from being the second greatest player of all time to being like the 15th shooter. I mean, not bad player. greatest shooter of all time to being like the 15th greatest. Like I don't like I could definitely see him
I
like
understand what you're saying.
you know what I mean? Like I'm not saying I would not. I don't expect him to be himself again. I don't. I think anyone who would expect him to be himself is just like
I don't
in a
see
pipe
him
dream.
getting. I think his jump shot. I think his shooting mechanics from an upper body perspective will be fine, but he's not going to get open the same way. Like he's just not. He's not going to get
But they
until
do
he gets
screens and stuff like
respected.
it's
I
all
understand that,
screen
but
work and shit.
you have to have the athleticism to be faster than the man who's guarding you. You know what I mean? And I think that's going to be a problem for him.
So what about like a Kyle Korver or like Ray Allen was?
They never had an
Ray
Achilles
Allen was
injury.
fast. No, but I'm saying
They never
Kyle
had this
Korver
happen to
isn't
him.
Klay Thompson.
But
I
Kyle
think
Korver never had this happen to him.
no, that's what I'm saying. Like Kyle Korver plays Klay Thompson without defense. Like that's what Kyle Korver is
Right,
Klay Thompson without
if you
defense.
told me Kyle Korver tore his Achilles, I would tell you he wouldn't be doing a lot of those stop and pop crazy threes either. That would be concerned too. It's the same thing that I'm worried about with Kevin Durant, but it's more of a off the dribble situation with Kevin Durant. Where
like if you see like there's multiple times I see Klay's just taking a little bit of steps like to get away from his man for a second, so then he could just get. All he needs is the like once he gets this and like his man is a step away, it's over. He's shooting like that's like I think in the beginning of this clip it was him doing that. Like it was just like him like taking a couple of steps back.
But you don't think
like that's not
going to be well? No,
that's not running fast. Or like
that specifically, I think he'll be able to do. Like when we're talking specific, run if he gets the good screen and like where he catches before, not that shot. I think that shot would be harder, but I think the shot we saw before where he just catches at the wing, turn, just the easy shot. I think he'll be able to get those. The corner shots are easy, but I don't think he's going to be able to move nearly the same way. And I think that's going to be really concerning for him and concerning for the Warriors. And I think they think that also, which is why they've also made major moves today in trying to acquire Kelly Oubre.
Well, I think they just don't want another dud season. I don't know if it's I don't know if it's going to be a long-term deal they're going to go for or they're going to give him more like I don't know what the deal is with that, but I'd assume it's more so because they just got their pick, their second round, their first round pick, and the guy like they wanted to make a playoff a championship push this year.
Yeah.
You already you had Steph rest for a whole year pretty much, Klay rest for a whole year, and I think they were just looking at it as we can't just have another dud season. Like we want to compete for a championship. I don't know if if I was the Warriors, what I'd be scared about is I no longer have one of those defensive stoppers. I would not be thinking Klay Thompson can't give me what he would give me in the offensive end. Like I think he can work around a lot of the stuff. Like it might not be 100% Klay, but even 85%, like that's still a threat, enough of a threat to pull a defender away from Steph.
I think Kelly Oubre solves that problem, but I think Kelly Oubre, I don't know if he's 85% of Klay Thompson. He's probably like 60 offensively. And then defensively, it's not very close. At least to me, it's not. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think if you're looking at it from Golden State's perspective, this is not sustainable. This tax bill that I'm looking at right here. They're not going to do this, especially with the thought of we don't know when fans are coming back into stadiums. There's still no one said anything about
I think they're going to do it for a year. And if they don't get far, they're making big moves the next year.
I'm just saying this is a lot of money to spend when there's no butts in the seats. So it makes it makes it a lot more difficult. But I think the plan is going to be we're going to try to score fucking 125 points a game and try to run people out of the gym because of exactly what you just said about the idea of they're losing that defense like a lot. And Draymond is not the same guy. Like he's not.
I don't know about that. I'm not one of those people ready to just write Draymond off.
I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just saying he's not making it in the All-Star team this year.
That's fine, but I think he's definitely with the role that he's gonna have to play in Golden State, which is not like everyone wanted to see Draymond score 20 and like average a triple double or something like last year, just
I
because
didn't
he
need
was
to
on
see
his
him
own.
score 20, but if he got to 10, 8, and 8, that would have been nice.
Yeah. And I think, and I've actually like listened to interviews with him, and he was talking about that he more so cared about developing the players on his team and stuff. So
Yeah. So
I
let's
mean,
see.
you could
Let's see.
yeah,
Maybe,
like if you
maybe that happens.
yeah, and I think in terms of like I think they're still like not a contender, but they're probably like a 5th, 6th seed now. Like instead of being, I thought they were a solid top 3 seed in the West.
Yeah.
I mean, with Kelly Oubre, you never know. Like I didn't expect this, so I was thinking they were a 6th seed with Klay out. Like that was me personally.
I think if they can achieve, I think this is going to look a lot like the 7 seconds or less Phoenix Suns. Steve Kerr was the GM of that, right? So he constructed that from a roster perspective. And I think that wasn't the plan this season, but I think they're being forced into that plan now, where they're going to try and put up points. Because you said it, you just told me it. I'm literally basing this all because I agree with you completely that they're the biggest.
You think they're just gonna? They know that they can't win a championship that way. Like that, I think they're still.
I think they're gonna try.
I think.
You think they can stop people from scoring?
Yeah, I feel like you could like having Draymond there. Anthony Wiggins could be a decent body, like to throw at people. Or whatever his name is, I don't give a shit about him. But he's
not a
like
good start.
He's a pretty decent defender. I don't know about. I've never really looked at Kelly Oubre as the greatest defender, but he's a pretty decent sized body to throw at guys. And I just think that the Warriors, everyone looked at the Warriors as an offensive juggernaut, which they were. But the biggest thing about them was their defense, like their underrated defense. Like people would just they would just go on spurts where they'll just blow people off the floor because they stopped them, and you just had Klay and Steph just making all the threes in the world. And I feel like they could definitely I feel like they have guys that can play good enough defense to make that work. I don't think they're gonna go 7 seconds or less offense. Like that's just not gonna win you games. I don't think that's gonna.
It's gonna win you games, especially in the regular season. What it's not gonna do is exactly what you said. It's not gonna win a championship. It's never happened. But
yeah,
I think that and again, I'm gonna say this again because I said it to preface these comments. I don't think that the plan was to go into this season to do that. Like if you would ask me before this injury what they were gonna do, they were just gonna try to play Warriors basketball and do a lot of the.
So when you say you think that that could win you games against who? Because
that can get you.
Last time I checked, this West is totally different than the West that they played in 2018.
But you're acting like there's a lot of like stout defensive teams outside of the 2 LA teams. There's not a lot of good defensive teams, especially in the West. Like name me one.
Yeah, but the whole thing is you don't like you're not gonna want to gun it out with Denver, who's at full strength right now. You're not gonna want to gun
try.
it out.
That's what I'm saying. I think they're gonna try. I think
like Houston's another one that you don't
the
like.
Greatest 3-point shooter ever. I think you're gonna try. I think they're gonna try. And that's what these moves
are saying. That's a mistake if they do that.
I'm not telling you it's the right thing to do. I'm just telling you that's what getting Kelly Oubre says. Because that's not a defensive move. That's this kid can fucking shoot move.
Well, they lost their so the whole thing. The way I look at it is you're trying to kind of get back a piece. You just lost the second biggest piece of your whole system.
Kelly Oubre is not going to replace that.
Yeah, exactly. But he's gonna be like a decent option to have as the second. I think
60%. That was what the 60% I was talking about was.
I don't know if I'm not gonna disrespect him that much. Maybe I may give him 70, 75. The defense, like offensively, I'll give him like 80% of Klay. Like,
has he put up 20 points a game ever? Maybe I'm bugging.
Well, Klay only averaged 22, so it's not like if you take 80% of 20.
Yeah, but it was an efficient 22.
Shooting 47%.
46% and 44% from 3 every year.
Yeah. Let's go to Kelly Oubre.
Yeah, because
I'm pretty sure like he's not the same. He's definitely not the 3-point shooter Klay is, but
I
all
think that's
around,
the only reason you're getting him. Actually, I think that's what they're trying to accomplish because that's the only place where I would say they're similar. Because I
well,
think they can shoot.
you want an
I think this
offensive,
kid can shoot,
yeah, you want, but
but
I
he
think you
can't
want
shoot
an
like Klay can
offensive.
shoot. You know what I mean? Like this is a 35% 3-point shooter,
Yeah, that's his
taking
best. That was his best
6 a
season
game.
too.
Yeah, 18 points a game. So it's maybe if you, but this totally changes your offense. Like I think people, I don't know, maybe they can tap into something that I don't know about. But
Well, all you need to do, all they cared about doing
mhm,
was getting lowering the load for Steph.
right,
If they would have went into the season just how it's constructed without Klay,
yeah,
Steph would have you would have put Steph in a really bad position. He's coming off of an injury, and you're pretty much saying you're going to be our offense, like
yeah,
completely. And to want Steph to or expect Steph to do 2016 Steph stuff is kind of like too much to ask for.
asking
I
for him
think
to be the next person to be injured.
exactly, and that's what happened in the beginning of last season.
Yeah,
He was gonna have to take up a huge offensive load, and immediately he got injured. Like
yeah. I mean, I'm
like
not disagreeing. I'm just putting up Uber's highlights because we're talking about him. But
yeah,
that is just a terribly unfortunate thing for a team that went to the finals 5 years straight,
yeah.
right? And so I have 2 questions, but I'll start with more the more like hypothetical question.
Yeah.
Is this should they just blow it up? They're not going to, but should
Yeah.
they?
No. Why? No. I don't
Because
think.
when Klay Thompson gets back, right? He's going to be a little bit older, and who knows if he's going to be the same guy. And do you really want to wait that long? Steph is going to be in his 30s at that point. And yeah, everyone says, and previous history has shown that the jump shot is the last thing that goes. And all these guys who are great shooters, the Reggie Millers, the Ray Allens, Dirk Nowitzki,
Mm-hmm.
they played longer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They had longer careers. So my
Yeah.
question is,
Yeah.
my question is, what is the future of this team? Besides what we already said, we talked about the immediate future. Now let's talk about the future as a whole. I just don't know if this team ever gets back to that spot where they were before they got Durant, where
Yeah.
they were championship contenders. I think that's done. And so, what are you doing?
So, what makes you? I just don't see like besides the defense part with Klay, like I don't see why we like I feel like Steph has a good amount of years in him. Like I don't think it's just another 2 years, 3 years with Steph. Like I feel like
Well,
he could give you a solid 5. Like
here's the thing though with that. I think if we're saying that Golden State's gonna, and this is what we'll find out at the beginning of this year, because also this is a team that didn't go to the bubble, so this is a
yeah,
fresh team. You know what I mean? From the people that are left, like
yeah.
Curry, like you said, is fresh. Do they
Mhm.
just give him the ball and say, "Listen, man, go get 30, and let's see what we can do"? We're not giving another
No.
season up.
No, I honestly think that that's exactly what they don't want to do. Like I think that's what the Kelly Oubre thing is telling you. It's saying we don't want to put that on our star because we know that that's not gonna he's not gonna last as long that way.
Yeah,
Like I
I'm
think
agreeing.
I think getting Kelly Oubre was saying, all right, we're gonna get you another offensive weapon, and we're gonna so then you don't have to carry the load. And they're trusting that their system is gonna make it work. Like, and I feel like their system is like I don't like. I could see the Warriors winning 50 plus games.
In my opinion. Oh wait, no. What? Sorry, you cut
I
out.
could see them winning 50 plus games this year,
Yeah.
and I could also see them get into at least the second round. Like like that's what I could see this year. And I think losing Klay and that happening, that gives you some type of optimism for the next year. Then the next year you're gonna have Klay, Kelly Oubre, Steph. I'm sure they're gonna have some type of trade or something because they're probably not gonna have all that. They're not gonna want all of that on their roster.
But a Klay who hasn't played in 2 seasons and we don't know what we're getting from him might not be
Yeah,
able to play more than 30 minutes a game.
yeah. Which could but you have like
Like, you can't just look at Klay and go, "This is the 100% guy now." This is 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
Like the same thing that I'm worried about Durant times 2 now. Like it's a long time to not play.
But I just think with
changes.
Durant, there's way more risk with what you want from Durant versus what you want from Klay.
I understand that, but you're not bringing them to. I think that Warriors team is going to be very different. Like what they had to do in the finals. How many points did Klay have to get in the finals to the last time they made it against the Raptors? He had to score a lot, right?
Probably average like 20.
But in the game specifically where he tore his ACL, he had 30 in 3 quarters, and they were winning.
Yeah, and but I think he could do that. I think he would be able to do that.
No way. I don't think he's going to get open nearly as much. I don't think he's going to be the same guy where he can do that for 82 games. I think you can get him in that clutch situation. I think if you need him in those situations, I think you're going to do that. But until I see it, maybe Durant will make me feel differently.
Maybe we're confused on the player we're talking about, because why do you think Klay got open? It wasn't because of himself. He was open because of Steph. That's 100% the reason. Steph and Klay,
how could you say that?
Without one another, they looked like totally different players.
Right, but
you can play boxing one versus Steph, huh?
Like, they still were elite at shooting the ball. Like, yeah, but we don't call Klay Thompson the second best shooter ever potentially. He's not in that conversation because he's next to Steph Curry. Like I say this a lot, and I've said this to you on our show before. If Klay Thompson was on the Milwaukee Bucks, he would make a humongous impact to that team.
Klay Thompson is the kind of player that you need to be the second option.
Right.
He's not a first option guy.
But you just told me he can still get me 30 points.
Exactly.
That's a lot for a second option.
Yeah, but it's because of the system they run. It's not because of the player he is.
Yes. Before the leg injuries, he's getting 22 points, like you said.
Yeah, but it's the system that they run. Like it's like the open spacing. That's what you like. Klay doesn't need that much to score. Like that's what I'm trying to say.
I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know if I think that's true.
I'm telling you, a lot of people would say that, but like, what is he doing to score? He's not. You act like he's dribbling by somebody, or like he's running to get to an open spot, and once he gets the ball in his hand, it's gone.
Like running doesn't require athleticism.
Yeah, but not to the extent that like if he doesn't run around the screen fast enough, guess what? He just doesn't get the ball. But sooner or later, he's going to get by the screen fast enough.
I think there's going to be a lot of that. I think there's going to be a lot of him being like, "Oh, I can't." Next screen. I think there's going to be a lot of that because I really think that's where he gets affected the most. That's real bad I really believe that. Maybe at the beginning of this year, I was like, okay, I've seen people come back from torn ACLs. Like, he'll need some time to like work through it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, that would be fine. But this is going to be 2 years where stamina and running a lot is your biggest asset. Like, outside of your shooting ability, it's the stamina and your ability to run on both sides of the floor, right? We just talked about it at length. So I worry, and I think he's not going to be coming back to a team where he's going to have Kevin Durant or anything like that. Like, he's going to be needed. You know what I mean? And I think that's a weird situation. I think that maybe they should look at doing something.
But I think doing this Kelly Oubre thing.
I'm pretty sure they picked him up.
I was surprised because of how quick it happened. I think you would expect them to have wanted to do something. That's what they did last year. They did it with D'Angelo Russell. They wanted to get something for KD, pretty much. So that's why they did the sign and trade. But the part of the reason of getting D'Angelo Russell was to fill in the offensive void that Klay Thompson was gonna have.
Right.
They trade away D'Angelo Russell,
but it completely
because they
blew up in their
expect,
face.
huh?
It blew up in their face completely.
Yeah, because of the injury. Like no one's gonna expect that Klay Thompson to have another season-ending injury
No, I'm
right
saying
after.
the D'Angelo thing kind of fucking. D'Angelo doesn't play for the Warriors anymore.
But they got D'Angelo. They always got D'Angelo in the thought that they were gonna trade him. They told him that. He knew that.
Yes. I don't know if they told him that. I know Woj
No,
said it on television, but I don't know. I feel like that's some type of shit where we'll hear about it on NBA Open Court in a few years. Like, man, I learned that shit from Woj on ESPN.
maybe, I guess maybe
you could see that, right?
But
maybe I'm wrong, but you could see it.
Maybe, but at the end, they always got him in the thought that they were going to trade him.
Yeah,
that was always a thing. And I think this is a similar case. Maybe I don't know if they're going to want to trade him because they might need Kelly Oubre for the next year, because I think Klay is going to need a year to get back to, like, at least remotely what he was. Like, I don't think you're going to expect him to be the exact same player.
I don't think they're doing 2 years of this.
I think if they have a shot,
that'd be insane. Kelly Oubre, $80 million for this guy in total when you include this much. It's the taxes. It's the luxury taxes that makes me think that they're not doing this for 2 years more than anything. But that's what I think they're in a state of, like, fuck.
But
and I think this was a panic move. And I don't think it was a smart move at all.
You think so you think they're going to get rid of him later, or do you think they're going to get rid of Klay? Because I don't think they're getting rid of Klay at all. All right, let's
stop. I think they're going to shop Draymond Green. I think that's going to happen. I think there's no doubt in my mind. Unless they go on the trajectory that you're talking about with the 50 wins. But continue.
Yeah, I think then with Klay Thompson, you got to look at it for what it is. All right, he's 30 years old now. He's gonna be 30, whatever. By the time he comes back, huh?
Yeah, he's 30.
By the time he comes back, he'll be like 31-ish.
Yes.
By the time he gets probably up to even remotely of what he was, he'll be 32.
Ooh, yeah. He'll 30 in 285 days, so he'll be 32 when he comes back.
Yeah. So he'll be late 32.
Yeah.
He's the type of player that can play long. Like, I'm not
disagreeing with that. I'm totally not disagreeing.
I think he's not going to be worth the super max that he got. Sure, that's fine, but I think he's going to be an asset that they're not going to want to lose. Like, because he's it just doesn't. It doesn't. I think you got to give him at least. He deserves to at least get a chance to play on the court again and prove himself.
Oh, I'm not saying that's not what I'm saying in this. What I'm saying is, I think when he gets the chance to prove himself, people are going to say, he's like 15, 5, 5, which is not bad, but, like, not elite. Like, you got to be benched. Like, you'll be a really nice bench role player on a championship team.
His first year, he'll be 15 something, but I think he could get back to like 18, 19-ish. Like, I
don't know. I got to see it.
I just don't see I don't see what you're looking at in his game that makes you think that a kid, besides if we're not talking about defense, Achilles.
What I'm saying is, I think pretending like him changing his game isn't going to be hard for him.
But he's not changing it that much. It's the defense.
That's where I disagree. I think he's changing it greatly. Because I think to tell him, Klay, you got to take it easy on the defensive end, is going to be fucking hard for him mentally. And I think to tell Klay, Klay, stand in the corner, don't run around on these screens so much. It's better for your legs. It's going to be hard for him. And I don't think he'll be doing that. I think he's going to try to do all the shit he used to do, and when he realizes either one of two things happens: either he can handle it, right, and he's on the trajectory that you are saying, or he has the Derrick Rose, where he doesn't fucking trust. I'm not saying he thinks like that mentally from a basketball standpoint, but I'm saying where he doesn't trust his lower extremities, because how can he? He got hurt today in a pickup game.
What do we think about Klay Thompson in terms of mentality?
I think he's tough as shit.
He is the closest.
I don't know if that changes after 2 straight freak leg injuries.
Nah, I think he's one of those Mamba mentality kind of guys. Not that he says like he thinks the Mamba mentality, but I think he has that strong mindset of like, I think he's looking at it as, he's not looking at this as he's done. I think he looks at it as like, this is another challenge, and he's gonna like, just from everything that I've seen about him, it doesn't tell me that he's done. I have to see it. I'll definitely have to see it to believe it. But I think if you give him a year after he comes back, he'll be close. Not I don't think he'll get back to where he is at, but I think he'll be a very productive player.
What do you think, Lynn?
I think he should be able to still have a pretty good career after this. It just depends on how much of his legs he gets back and how that'll affect his jump shot, because he does have a really nice, like, little jump shot form when he jumps and whatnot. And we'll see how that goes, but I don't know. 2 injuries in a row is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, that's my thing. Name a guy who's come back and been an all-star after being out for 2 seasons. Like, I guess MJ missed a year and a half and got back to MVP level, but he didn't have an injury.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But it's like, all of these players you're gonna show is not anything close to what Klay Thompson plays like. Like, Klay, there's only really one Klay Thompson, the way he played. Like, you can't look at a player and compare someone to what Klay did overall. He's the ultimate 3-and-D guy. You've never seen someone who plays as good as defense as him and shoots the 3-ball as great as him. Like, I think he's unique in that. That's why he was such a unique player. It was that. I think he loses definitely a lot of the defense, but I think he can maintain a good amount of the offense, because he's not gonna be able to dunk like that ever. Like, again, probably, or he probably isn't gonna be scared to do that. But in terms of I
think that shit, like, I think he's gonna be scared to do a lot of stuff that he used to do, because I think these things didn't happen to him in moments where he was like doing. I don't know what he was doing on the pickup game, but I imagine if you pop your Achilles in a pickup game, and there were NBA players present, so it was like a warm-up scrimmage. People knew what was going on.
Yeah.
So I imagine it happened doing fairly routine shit.
Well,
until we hear otherwise. And
well, you gotta
imagine it's gonna affect your mental psyche. 2 back-to-back injuries on opposite legs. It's gonna be hard.
So we gotta take into consideration the circumstances of the. So the reason, like, I'm pretty sure the reason and he was probably playing more and more games because the season is starting to come back.
Right.
And I'm sure none of them expected that the season was going to come back this early. So, I feel like he might have been rushing to get into basketball shape, and you could see how that like being away from basketball for a year and that was a year and a half almost.
Yeah.
When he got what was it, June of 2019, right? So that's about a year and a half, and he's probably like, I need to get back to where I was at, and I could totally see him overworking himself or trying to like put in more work to get to where he was at, and then he probably ruptured his Achilles. Like, I don't know if it's like as simple as like he was just playing a normal pickup game, and like he could have just been like working really hard to get back for the season or get ready for the season. Because a lot of people were projecting the Warriors to be the top 3 seed, so I'm sure he wanted to make sure that was the case too.
No, I'm
like, and he's a prideful guy too. Like,
I'm agreeing with that 100%.
Yeah.
But either way, a devastating loss.
You see, like that.
I love
like things like that. Like, I feel like he could do that forever. Like, I don't see why not. Like, he just literally like walked up, stepped back like a couple of steps, and just chucked it.
Name somebody, but come on, man. You're talking about like J.R. Smith is the only guy that like, and these are like guys that are not on his level of play that do that. He can't. That cannot be the basis of your game where you just walk up and That's stupid. Like that's insane.
No, but the whole thing is he's not so the engine that runs the team is Steph Curry. Everyone knows that. He's literally he's the focal point of the offense. This is just the truth. And people
yeah, sure. Yes, I understand this.
So the whole thing is Steph being there makes his job so much easier. Klay Thompson wouldn't get as.
I think you're underrating what exactly this guy does.
No, what I'm saying is Klay Thompson wouldn't be as open as he is as like most of the time, or get the shots that he gets as often as he does if there wasn't for a Steph Curry right next to him. And same thing. This is not just. I think it's the same thing for Steph too. Like it matters. Like it goes both ways. If when Klay's not there, Steph is not the same person, and when Steph's not there, I think Klay's not going to be the same person. And that's why I think like that he doesn't need that much space. You see, like he's just
but look at his legs. Look at his legs. Hold on, this is a great point. Look at his fucking legs. This was a perfect slow-mo to get this too. He's stopping on his toes, on his tippy toes, and shooting that shot. That's not going to be. That's all ankles. That's not going to be easy.
What do you think is just going to happen? Like he's just going to like his body's not going to be that frail. I'm pretty sure he's using the best medical like doctors in the world. Like
it's not about that. It's about the mentality. Like he's already on his toes. Like I just worry about that. I just worry about the guys who are running at full speed, stopping on your toes. That seems difficult. I don't know. I'm not a superstar athlete. I wouldn't know, but it seems fucking not easy. And like, I got to imagine, like Derrick Rose has some of the most fast twitch, crazy moves before his injury that anybody had ever seen. And then when he came back, he literally couldn't.
But that's comparing like
physically.
That's comparing apples to watermelons. Like that's a totally different players. Like not even close to the athleticism or the burst or the stop and like the stop the stop and go that Derrick Rose has compared to what Klay has is like not even close to the same thing. Like not even like remotely close.
Achilles is a serious injury.
It's like different planets.
And like I don't know. The ACL.
Like all right, let's think about the players that's affected. Kobe Bryant.
Yes.
Dominique Wilkins, but he came back from it.
DeMarcus Cousins.
DeMarcus Cousins. And this now none of them like are even close to the way that this Klay plays. He plays completely different from every single one of those players. And I don't think leg injuries affect shooters as much as you're saying.
I completely, that's crazy. I completely disagree.
No,
any shooter would tell you that otherwise. I'm listening to people talk about,
but not to that extent though. Not to the extent that it's completely stop him from being who he is. Like I think he's gonna.
Do you see the lift that he gets on his jump shot though? Like he's not one of those jump shooters that like keeps his feet super close to the ground and like he squares up and he gets a good jump when he takes that shot.
Like Dirk was a set shooter who didn't really jump that much, but he was also 7 feet. Like Klay's 6'7", but that's like the average NBA height, and that's going to be more average by the time he gets back to play. I think he's. Mentality-wise, I think he's got one of the strongest minds of people that play today. Just like from a killer standpoint, but I just think, man, if I had back-to-back leg injuries on opposite legs, and then you're putting me possibly in front of fans again, like I don't know anybody that's come back from that.
I mean, it's going to be almost impossible to find anyone that got an ACL injury and then an Achilles injury and came back from it. But if there's a player that I would rather have that happen to, it would be Klay Thompson, like a player like that, because the kind of player he is, that works way better than us. Like if that happened to Steph Curry, I'd be extremely scared if that happened to Steph Curry versus Klay Thompson, because the way Steph plays is way different than what Klay plays.
Yeah, that's how I feel about Kevin Durant. But apparently people are saying he looks okay. So they just get on the phone. Kevin Durant's guy calls. What do you
Oh,
call
I'm sure. I'm sure they're gonna
like,
be.
all right, I got work.
Well,
I got work for the next year. Let's go.
yeah, that's gonna be. That's gonna be. But the whole thing is like what Kevin Durant has to get back from versus what Klay Thompson has to get back from is like two completely different things. Like Kevin Durant, like I think it could still, no matter what, be like effective. But I don't think I don't know if he's gonna be 100% like Kevin Durant. I feel like Klay Thompson will have way more of a chance at being offensively 100% of himself than Kevin Durant would because of the style of play and the way that they play. It's like you don't need you like obviously it takes skill some type of athleticism to do what he does because it's not if it was that easy to do it. I think a lot of his shit is just skill. Like it's like a lot of like that shooting skill like is just amazing. And I think that helps him with a lot of his game. But like he could do that all day long. Like I feel like he could
But that comes with constant repetition that he's about to lose again. 2 times he loses this. He doesn't. It's not like. And I agree with you. Skill comes from muscle memory, in my opinion, especially with guys like this, where it's all like instinct. It's all muscle memory, and you lose that. And he's going to lose that. He's going to have to completely relearn it. Will he have the facilities? Yes. It's going to be hard, though. It's going to be hard. You can shoot in a pool while you're sitting down all you want.
But like all you need is that. What he needs is the flick of the wrist and to be able to jump a little. Like that's what he needs. Like
that's disrespectful to Klay, in my opinion.
That's me. That's me giving him the ultimate respect. That's me saying that there is no. I literally said that he's the second greatest shooter ever.
That's the next point. This is the next segment.
That's like to me. That's total. That's me giving him total respect. Like the part that I think
you're gonna
his
get
shooting ability is insane.
Respect. Right now, damn, they already got an update on Basketball Reference. Such cheese, unbelievable.